Welcome back to Aimmee Kodachian and the Expert Show, where the experts share their knowledge, wisdom, and powerful insights to help you transform your business and personal life. This show is about real-world education and beyond. This is the segment 3 of the show, segment 3 of the episode that I'm having here with Dr. Suzan Johnson Cook. And she is an ambassador, presidential advisor, author, keynote speaker, a minister, and way more.
And Amy's friend.
And Amy's friend.
A friend of
Thank
Aimmee.
you.
Yes.
I'm so humbled to be your friend. And again, I met Dr. Suzan at Women's Federation for World Peace, which is my heart is really connected with those ladies, and I'm sure you are too.
Yes.
And they're an amazing organization. We were talking about the first segment was about your life and how you get to where you're at, a little bit the background. The second segment we talked about your experience with President Clinton,
Right.
and now we want to talk about your experience with
President Obama. Right. Well,
Now,
I wear this pin. This is my ambassador pin. So I'm ambassador for the rest of life. I'm just not in that role. I was the 3rd U.S. ambassador at large for international religious freedom.
That's what I want to get first, how you get the title.
Yes.
And
okay.
then we'll go into the meat of your experience with President Obama.
Yeah, well, I got a call from Secretary Clinton's office. It was my 30th year of pastoring in inner city New York. I was at my 3rd congregation, and I was so ready for something new. I love the people, I love the work, but I have been doing it for 30 years. Inner city, New York City. And so I was asking God for some kind of transition. My friends who were ministers, were becoming elders or bishops in their church because they had a different kind of structure. In the Baptist world, you really just are a pastor. And so I was really starting to get frustrated, and I got a call from Secretary Clinton's office. I didn't get to lament for even 2 minutes, and the phone rang, and it was, we have this position called Ambassador at Large for International Religious Freedom. We know your faith work, we know your political work, but do you have any international experience? And I had just made a list of all the countries I had been to through my life, and leading delegations, living abroad. And they said, well, send that right over. So when you put the faith, the political, and the international together, it seemed like such a great fit.
Wow.
But it was a Senate-confirmed position. And so I had to go before the Senate. And it was, President Obama was having a lot of problems with his appointees getting through because a lot were stopping it. It only takes one Senate's vote to stop your vote going through. And I had been a year and a half going back and forth to Washington, getting my briefings.
But isn't it you were already ambassador with Clinton, or you were advisor?
I was an advisor.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yes,
okay.
so an ambassador,
Right.
All ambassadors come through the State Department, and this was a special one because it was advisor to the President and to the Secretary of State, and I had all 199 countries. So you had to kind of learn a little bit about every country, particularly where they were having religious freedom issues, where people were having problems worshiping the way they wanted. And it took me a year and a half going back and forth, got a hearing date, passed with flying colors, but then one senator held my vote. He says, I'm not letting it hit the Senate floor. And if your vote doesn't hit the Senate floor, every other year it expires. This was the 111th Congress, and my vote expired after a year and a half of my life.
Wow.
And it was then the conservative community, God sent an angel through a white evangelical pastor who said, I feel your heart as my Christian sister. He says, and you're going to get another hearing.
Amazing.
And he sent me around to all his friends and said, you're going to take her meeting. And they ended up just helping me get. So there was one scene so I got a second confirmation hearing date. It was during Holy Week in 2011. And there's a part where they asked the family of the candidate to please stand. Well, all these men stood as my family. These men who at one time had been opposed to me said, we stand with her. And just the optic of them standing.
How did you feel?
Oh my gosh. I swallowed. I was like, yeah, this is my family. It was a God moment, And the person who had held my vote said, there will be no further questions. She will go through.
But this, again, that's God's work.
Oh, without question, because they didn't know me, they didn't owe me, but they felt my heart.
You feel. That's how God works, is through feeling.
Yes.
To me, not every feeling is correct, but my goodness, I mean, how many people really saw your potential there? However, we're not saying just you get opportunities. You had to be ready. You had to put your work. So that's where misunderstanding people think if you pray or God should give you everything. You put your time. You have to be
ready when the opportunity knocks.
They felt that. They knew you were ready for.
Yeah. I mean, it was 2 master's degree, a doctorate degree, years of working in television and ministry. So we're talking about 35 years of work.
And working with President Clinton.
So it's all of that together, and long hours, sometimes getting home very late with small children, sometimes being away from your children and family. So it takes a lot, but with faith and opportunity and readiness, preparedness, then creates doors opening. And so this door opened, and it's fantastic. A man named Reverend Rob Shank, who's still in Washington, became my best friend and looked out for me, not just to get the nomination, but to make sure while I was in Washington that there was someone who was helping me, the human me, not the ambassador me, not the public me, but that my heart, that I was eating right, and that I, had the amenities of life. And those kinds of things are very, very important, that you have a friend on the journey.
That's what my husband does.
Yes.
He makes sure I eat right and everything, so I always embrace him for that.
Yes, and celebrate him. Yes. So it's been a wonderful journey, but like you said, it takes hard work, but when the opportunity knocks, there's one Jabez prayer, the prayer of Jabez. One says, Lord, increase my territory. But I found this other version that says, Lord, increase the opportunities that I have to touch more lives for you. Not that I might get more glory, but that you might get more glory.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I've been able to touch a lot of lives. A lot of lives have been able to touch me. And what an amazing, amazing journey it is. And it goes back to my late parents, Dorothy and Woodward, who worked hard as well. They worked as civil servants by day. They built a business by night in our home, and they employed 200 men and women of the community so that they would have food on their tables, and never missed a payroll, never missed a paycheck. Just were good, honest people that helped other people. And so I'm the beneficiary of their hard work and goodness, and I recognize
it's good to give the credit to that.
Oh,
right?
Oh, yeah.
Now, when we come back, then we're going to talk about your experiences and tell us a little bit about President Obama. What's happened there?
Yes,
how's your relationship went with him?
Okay, certainly.
And we'll be right back. Very short commercial.
Hi, I'm Jamie Lee Metz, CEO and founder of Skin Fitness here in Las Vegas. We've been serving Las Vegas for over 17 years. We're proud to announce we just won 2017 Spa of the Year by Image International. That's the skincare company of the Miss Universe pageant. We offer exclusive treatments like our Time Eraser facial, which uses multiple modalities and literally erases time. Our Pore Purge, which is the ultimate in hygiene. And our Fire and Ice facial, which literally removes and soothes the skin at the same time. Come see us at our new location here in Village Square. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Well, welcome back, and we are with Dr. Suzan here, and now we're going to talk about her experience with President Obama, and tell us a little bit what goes behind the scene, your life with him, and your experiences.
Well, it was a proud moment. I mean, I had a conflict because Secretary Clinton had been so wonderful to me, and President Obama, when they both were running against each other, it was either going to be a historic moment with a woman, or it was going to be a historic moment with an African American.
That is a very strong.
It was, and I knew both of them. But when he won, it was a proud moment for us as African Americans, because it was the compilation of all the years of struggle that my parents and their parents had to go through to see this moment. So I was not expecting a call because, basically I had campaigned for Secretary Clinton, but the call came from Secretary Clinton's office, and every president has to nominate appoint. The secretary nominates, the president has to appoint the ambassador, and so he appointed me, and so it was there that I got to go in the White House and serve with the first African American president.
Wow, what a history.
It was such a history, different kind of closeness than with Clinton, because I was actually, on Clinton's staff, up close and personal. And even though I was an ambassador and advisor to President Obama, there were people who he knew from Chicago and from when he was senator who had been with him on his journey as long as I had been with the Clintons.
Sure.
And so, to be his representative, though, I was the lead diplomat in religious freedom. So every time I sat at a diplomatic table, and I was always the only woman, and I was only the African American, all over the globe. I went to 28 countries, but I always felt this sense of I have to represent him well.
So you did travel with him then?
I traveled in his stead.
In his stead, okay.
In his stead. Yeah, I only had one trip with the secretary, and most times I was like the advanced person. I would go on matters of religious freedom, and he might go the next week on matters of the economy or whatever. So they entrusted the area of religious freedom to me. And so that meant I was his lead delegate and diplomat.
Big responsibility.
Huge responsibility. And so I was expected to bring back the bacon, whatever the mission was. And all of those are high secret missions, but whatever the mission was, I was the lead diplomat. So when I sat at the table, the meeting began. When I stood up, it was over. But I always had this, I am representing President Obama and Secretary Clinton. And so there was a pride, but there was an accountability that I didn't want to go home and neglect any of the areas that I was responsible for. So it was just a wonderful moment. So I stayed in the position. It took me 2 years to get confirmed and 2.5 years on the job. So 4.5 years of my life. And again, people don't know those moments when you're alone and you're crying because your vote didn't go through. They don't know those. It was the week before Christmas. My kids were coming home from school, and you get the news, I'm sorry you didn't get the nod. And so people don't know those dark moments where your faith has to really kick in, because when you're a candidate, you can't talk to any people other than the White House and the State Department. You can't talk to the people were blasting me in the media like, who's this woman who comes from New York, thinks she can do this job? You can't say anything. And so here you are, you don't get the nod, nobody's talking to you for the whole year, and you're in a moment where it's really kind of that shadow of death that David talks about, the valley of the shadow of death, and you're like, wow, this is a deep place. But in my heart of hearts, I believed I was supposed to be the ambassador.
You just felt it again.
I felt it
right?
again. And when this angel showed up and said, you're the president's pick, and I felt your heart as a Christian sister.
Hallelujah.
Then I was like, that's it. So that was the answer. Yes, hallelujah. So it's an incredible journey.
Wow.
And so, now my 2 sons have finished school. One's in medical school, one's doing Teach for America in Miami. And they're on their path, but I'm still their mother, and I want to help them. So there'll be one more chapter. I do my speaking and my authorship, my books and videos, but I also want to make sure that they have everything they need to become the men that I believe God appointed them to be.
Nice. Well, you might have a show with me here.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love that. You saw it here first.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm so excited. Really, we're connecting in heart to heart, and we're on a journey in making a difference in the world. I recently became an ambassador for peace.
Yes.
And it's just, I take that very seriously.
And you
very,
should.
very seriously.
And you're an honorable one, and
Thank
so
you
represent us well. So I feel so comfortable when you're at the helm.
Thank you so
Madam
much.
Ambassador.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
Thank you. Now, if you're watching live with us, perfect opportunity. I think we still have one more, right? One more segment, or I'm talking to you, and the time is flying. I can have you here forever.
About 2 more minutes left.
Is this second segment?
That was the third.
The third? Okay, we're done
yeah,
here.
This is it. So
oh
you
my
have to
gosh,
wrap up.
I really,
Yes.
I'm so taken. So forgive me, that's fine, right?
Yes.
You can forgive me. And this is the last segment. I encourage you to go back and watch the 2 segments we recorded with Dr. Suzan. Amazing information, inspiring, and it's so blessing to have you with
Thank
me.
you.
I really didn't realize the time because I
Right.
want to have you more here.
Okay, but it's been
Okay.
my joy. And if they need a speaker, you need a speaker with
That's right.
charisma.
With charisma.
Yes.
So give them your website.
My
and-
website is charismaspeakers.com. That's CHARISMA speakers.com. And we book keynote speakers and coaches and global experts all over the United States and all over the world. So if you need a good keynote who can make the difference between your conference and your convention or your commencement, you need a
Just
speaker
connect.
with charisma.
Yes, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being with us, and thank you for being with us again. And please, until next time, stay focused on your purpose.